All right, so today we basically spent about 2 to 3 hours thinking of a music artist name. And this is something I've done a lot before, but I tried a different method this time. And I think this method was very helpful and I wanted to share it. So basically the method is writing out every single letter of the alphabet. I don't know how well you can see this, if it focuses, but basically if you write out every letter, you can cross out the ones that you do not like or you do not resonate with, and then you're left with letters that you essentially do resonate with. And for me, a lot of those letters were part of my name, so S, L, T, and the vowels were pretty much kept in all of them. So that was what I had to work with mostly. I started off with a lot of letters that I couldn't decide whether or not I resonated with it yet, but over time, I just kept crossing out until that was left, and that made it easier to come up with the name. I don't know why this method worked for me, but it did, and perhaps it might work for you. And for me personally, I like coming up with unique names that I've never heard of, or at least names that aren't based on real words, basically. So the name that I came up with for my music artist name, and the previous one that I came up with that I've been using for the first 2 tracks that I've released so far, that one is Solurai. It's Solurai. And I do like that one. I think it's pretty cool, but I think the more I think about that name and the more when I see it, I think it looks really cool. But when I say it, it's hard to catch on. Like, it's hard for me to feel like it's gonna catch on. For me and for other people, perhaps. But more importantly, just for me, because I wanna feel like I resonate with the name that I'm using. That's why, in particular for this channel, it's gone through a lot of different renditions for the name. And I ended up just choosing my own name because it's easier that way, since my name is my name. But there's something about music and creative things that make me feel like if I'm putting my name on it and this is my art, I get to essentially choose whatever that name is. It's part of the creative process. It's part of like the creative journey, I guess, is to come up with your artist name. And I think it's a really tough and hard process, but for me, spending that time and just mulling it over, because it wasn't just 2 to 3 hours today, it was definitely a whole lot of thinking over a long time period, basically. And I really am not great with coming up with names I resonate with. I think I've come up with like some cool names, but I just don't want to use it because it has certain letters that I don't resonate with. And I don't know why I don't resonate with certain letters, but having those letters represent me as a person, like as a name, as a music artist, for some odd reason, I just don't like it. So R is one of those letters that I felt kind of odd about. So Solurai has R, and that was one of the things that made me feel like a little skeptical about whether or not I wanted to continue using it. But the new one that I came up with is Sylius. It's already taken from a company that has nothing to do with music, luckily, but I can't find any other usernames using it, so it's not very popular. It's not on Spotify either, which is lucky. And for the pronunciation, I am still debating and working on that as well. There's 2 primary ones. The first one, the one that I thought of originally, was Sylius, and the second one is Sylius. So both of them I feel like could work. Just one of them, the first one, Sylius, sounds like silliest, which I personally don't mind because I like silly energy and I like being around people that are goofy and funny and everything. Personally, for me, I'm not the silliest person out there, but in an ironic way, I don't mind the name. So I don't mind the pronunciation, basically. It's the way it looks that really draws me. It has the right letters. It has part of my last name. It has S, which is a letter I resonate with a lot, and it starts with it. And it ends with S. For some reason, I really like that sound of starts with S and ends with S as well. Some other options in my head. Well, there were kind of a lot. I don't know. I just wrote like a lot. And I think writing it out really helped me. Most of these are definitely really bad. And I wrote Chopin, Beethoven, Mozart as well, and Sibelius. Those were some of my inspirations, especially Sibelius. I think Sibelius is such a cool name, but I don't resonate with the letter B at all. So it's almost like taking inspiration from that name, but just taking out the B, essentially. But that was my music artist name discovery process. And right now I am trying to change it on DistroKid. I'll see how that goes, but luckily I haven't released too many tracks yet. I've just released 3. So if there are any issues, then technically I probably can just redistribute the music, especially since I haven't done any sort of promotion or anything. I just released it for the sake of releasing it to get practice and everything. So it's good to definitely come up with these things in the early stages, because changing the name definitely affects certain things, especially when you set up your music accounts with Apple or YouTube and everything like that. If you change your name a lot later when you have a lot of tracks released already, it's gonna be way more difficult to settle everything and make it correct. At least that's what I'm discovering so far, even with just 3 tracks, because Apple Music doesn't allow you to change your name through DistroKid, unfortunately. So it's like releasing as a new artist, basically. Okay, so that was essentially today's biggest highlight, I'd say. Just spending a lot of time doing that. And I feel like it was primarily because I was continuing to do some music. I'm writing a new piece for a friend whose birthday is coming up really soon, so I need to get that done. But part of me just kept thinking about like, okay, I want to do this. I want to release more music more frequently, like try to get to the point where I'm releasing something new weekly. And if I don't resonate with the name that I'm releasing under, I just feel like I'm carrying something in my head and in my heart that's like holding me back, basically. It's sort of similar to my main channel, but I feel it a lot more, basically, because this is my creative process. This is my art, basically. So I have to represent it with like a name that I really resonate with. So that is what happened today, and hopefully everything goes through and that will be my new music artist name. Yeah, okay, that's pretty much it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.